Hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm going over the directional leadership style based off of the situational leadership approach. As mentioned earlier in our presentation, to be a situational leader, you have to be able to adapt to your followers' needs. And the two situations that I'm going to be comparing begin with my role as a manager at a restaurant and my current role as an intern at an engineering company. Directional leadership played a huge part of my role at the restaurant because many of our employees start out with very low skill sets, but they have high commitment. And as Hersey and Blanchard described in their situational leadership theory, directional leadership is basically the foundation of every situational approach. So you have to start with followers who have low skill sets and high commitment in order to find an employee who will have a high commitment and a high skill set level. I can have any new employee come into a restaurant, and whether they've served tables, bartended, hosted, basically any role in a restaurant they've ever served, it's going to be a new experience to them because they don't have the necessary skill set as menu knowledge or drink knowledge or anything else that a seasoned employee would have. And the best example that I can think of this would be one of our younger employees, like a 16 to 17-year-old high school student who came in and got a job as a host. He had never worked in a restaurant before, and this was his first job. So he had a very high commitment level, was very excited to be making his own money, and was really excited to be working at Mellow Mushroom. However, as a manager, it was a very big struggle for me because I couldn't expect him to know the things that all of the other hosts knew. And I knew that I had to give him a lot of direction in order to get him to move up to that next level. It was a struggle because I could see as his skill set increased, his commitment decreased a little bit. And that's usually how it goes according to the situational leadership 2 model. And this is also something I noticed in myself as I started out as a host as well. And it took me about a year to become a server. And when I became a server, that was a very huge transition because I needed a lot of direction in order to be successful. Especially in a restaurant, it's a very high volume, fast-paced environment, and you have to be able to think really quickly and on your feet. And when you're dealing with young employees, such as myself or the host that I mentioned earlier, they need a lot of direction before you can give them support. It's not really a good idea to establish a relational, repertoire with an employee before they're able to enhance their skill set and their commitment level just a little bit more. But first it must decline. So with myself, like I said, started out as a server, and I think I needed about a good year of direction. I still had high commitment because, like the host, this was my first job, and I was really excited to be making money and be in an industry where I could work very flexible hours and go to school. Once I received my direction from my managers, I was able to move on to the coaching, the next step of the situational leadership model, and I was able to get more feedback, which increased my skill set level, but also decreased my commitment because unless you're at that supporting level of the situational leadership model, you don't really have the relational connection with your superior. I went through this myself, and I noticed that a lot of my employees went through it also. You don't really like a boss who's always giving you directions and doesn't really pay attention to who you are or how your name is, or what your name is, or how you're doing. But it's really necessary in order to increase the skill set because you have to give them firm directions, firm expectations, firm set standards of everything that must be followed in order to achieve that high skill set. And in my experience, being able to adapt to the employee's needs really helps them flourish in the environment and in an industry or any business where